I'm on. What's the first question? Just say anything I want?
Name and when you pledged.
Name is Roger Meisenhelder. I pledged in the spring of 1966. Fraternities meant a lot to me. Probably meant, it's funny, it didn't mean much to me from the time I was about 25 until the time I was about 60. And now I'm 65. And it has meant a lot to me, a whole lot, the last 5 years. And when I was in the fraternity, it meant a lot. I grew up in a house full of women. My father died when I was 15, and my grandmother lived with us, and my mother and a sister. Didn't have any brothers. And I was heavily influenced by women growing up as a kid, and really didn't have anybody who was a male role model. Didn't really have any uncles. And I went to college and wound up joining the fraternity. And that's when I first really understood even the concept of brothers. And all of a sudden, instead of no brothers, I had a whole load of brothers. I had role models of guys who were becoming men. Some of the brothers older than me, particularly, who were becoming men and thinking about careers. And this was like a whole new thing for me. And got me thinking about, yeah, I'm going to be a man someday, and would I like to be a man like this guy or that guy or somebody else? And it helped shape the kind of man that I became. The values, the things that were important, the traits that help you get girls, the traits that help you lose girls. These are the kinds of things that I experienced in those years. After graduation, I worked as a school psychologist for 40 years. Raised kids, bought houses, painted the houses, repaired the houses, and probably I had about maybe between 5 and 10 minutes of free time every day, and that was it. And never went to, it's funny, I have events like this at Jerry Welcher's house now. Those kinds of things have been going on for decades, really, and I didn't go to one single alumni fraternity activity from the time I was 22 years old until 3 or 4 years ago. Not one. Not one. And I would get, sometimes I'd get a memo or something from Jerry Welcher saying that we got the party going on, and I was like embarrassed. It's like, geez, I haven't been part of anything for so long, and if I went, probably everybody would say, Meisenhelder, where the hell have you been? I was kind of embarrassed about it. And then I decided to go. And it astounded me that nobody said, where the hell you been? You don't like even deserve to be here. Instead, everybody goes, Meisenhelder, welcome to me. And it was like instantly like, gee, you're not mad at me? It's like nobody even thought anything like that. It was they were glad to see me, and I was glad to see them. And by then, I didn't have kids to raise. I didn't have a house that needed painting. I had a lot more than 5 minutes a day of spare time. And I was on the verge of retirement, and then did retire. And the opportunity came up for me to give something to the fraternity instead of just getting. And the last year I've been vice president of the Brotherhood Corporation, and I've enjoyed that. I've had the time to do it, and I'm just very thankful that at two very different times in my life, the time when I'm becoming a man and the time that I'm becoming an old man, I was able to experience Theta Kappa Beta, and I'm very, very thankful. I'll say one more thing. When my kids were growing up, when they were teenagers, I'll pick out my daughter in particular, who's now 36. When she was 15 years old, if you would have said to her, where did your dad go to school? She would have said Plattsburgh. And if you had said to her, can you name one of your daughter's, of dad's professors? She would have said, no, not really. If you had said to her, what kind of degree did your father get? She'd probably say, well, I'm not really sure. And if you had said to her, was your father in a fraternity? She would have said, oh, yes. And if you had said to her when she was 15, what fraternity was your dad in? She would have said Theta Kappa Beta. She would have known that.